Good morning, students. How are you coping with the novel pandemic? Please be very responsible. Take care of yourself. Obey your parents' instructions. And do what the government said everybody should do to avoid the attack of this wicked enemy amongst us. My earnest prayer is that God will grant us the grace to see face to face in the classroom once again and to teach you better than this. God bless you. We have a topic today which is trade and commerce in Nigeria. This lesson is presented by your teacher, Mr. Tonye Leziga. What do I intend to ensure, or what do I ensure that you know at the end of this lesson? My earnest desire for you is that before the end of this lesson, one, you should be able to explain the meaning of trade. Two, you should be able to discuss the types of trade. Three, you should be able to describe the reasons for trade in Nigeria. Trade in Nigeria. Trade in Nigeria involves buying and selling or exchange of goods and services between one region of Nigeria and another, or between Nigeria and other countries. But our focus mainly on this lesson is trade within our country, Nigeria. That you are given some money to go to market to make some purchases to the house. You are trading. That you are given some items to take to the market for sale. That is trading. So in one way or the other, you may have been directly involved yourself in the business of internal trade in Nigeria. Some of you are at home too. Your parents traveled to other parts of the country to see how they can buy product from there, and they take product from your various states to other places to fill the vacuum. That is what we call trade, internal trade. So trade is just the act of buying and selling. Act of buying and selling. Now, types of trade. There are two types of trade. At your level, there are two types of trade. Where we have one, the internal or domestic trade. Two, external or international trade. Internal or domestic trade is our focus in this lesson. One, this trade involves the buying and selling of goods and services within the country. It is self-explanatory. Whatever local transactions you make with your money, trying to buy rice, trying to buy beans, trying to buy spices, all this, buy clothing within your country, it is a domestic trade. Two, it may be a transaction between one region in Nigeria and the other. It might be a trade between your parents carrying something from the south to the north and buying something from the north to the south for sale. It may be a transaction between one region in Nigeria and the other, e.g. trade between the south and the northern part of Nigeria. Although we have in this lesson too, just for a person, external or international trade. This involves trade between Nigeria and other countries. Trade between Nigeria and other countries. When Nigeria decided to trade with China, Nigeria decided to trade with USA, Nigeria decided to trade with Japan, then that trade on that scale is known as international what? Trade. What are the factors that favors internal trade in Nigeria? What are the factors that favor internal trade in Nigeria? 1. Difference in products. The difference in the product of various regions in the country is a major basis for internal trade. Why do we say difference in product? You see, Nigeria is so blessed that each of the regions in Nigeria can be proud of something. They can produce something they are best at, if properly organized. The North, they produce beans, they produce yam, they produce onions, we get tomato from the North. But we do not produce such here except for yam and other tuber crops that grows in this place. So you see, these ones we grow here, like our palm produce, the common Eilishis genesis, our fish, crayfish, are all taken to other part of the country. Whereas these ones that are not produced here is also brought in to us so that we can have food to eat. This kind of trade, this kind of factor is the difference in product, because what is not produced in the north is produced in the south. What is not produced in the south is produced in the north to fill this gap. 2, good road or transportation network. Well, not in its perfect sense, but there are linkage. There are road network. There are railways network that at least you can access any part of Nigeria. No matter what is produced at any corner, it can be transported to the urban centers for sale. The various regions in Nigeria are linked together by road and railways, except for areas where there is a breakdown of these infrastructures. If not, every area in Nigeria, every community in Nigeria is linked by one major road or one tract road. The product through there can come to the urban centers. Differences in climate. Climate is a major determinant factor on what to produce in the different regions in Nigeria. You can understand as geography students that our climate is a major determinant factor. Why we cannot grow certain things here is as a result of the climate difference. Why certain things can also be grown over there is as a result of climate difference. You also discover that crops that are grown in the south are water-loving plants, which is called a hydrophytic plant. And also, the crops that are grown in the northern part of Nigeria are sun-loving plants. So you see, at this different climatic condition, different types of crops can be grown. 4, fertile soils. I used to tell you that Nigeria is most blessed because there is no regions in Nigeria that cannot produce at least what they can eat using the soil that is available to them. So fertile soil. Different regions in Nigeria have different types of soil. In returns, give birth to different products. Soil is another determinant factor. Soil is another determinant factor in the production of food items, crops, animals that you raise. Wide market stroke demands. Currently now, our population, the population of our country, Nigeria, is about 170 million. And with such larger populations, human beings makes demands. And when they make demands, They go to market to shop for what they will eat to sustain their lives. Who can stay hungry amongst you for 2-3 days? Except you are on dry fasting. Or there is a very strong reason why you must embark on that. Except that everybody will look for food to eat. And in as much as all you need to eat is not produced by you, what happened? You must go to market and get food, buy something to eat. And some of these things are not produced within your reach. They are brought in from other countries, from other part of Nigeria to where you are. So definitely these 170 million people must eat. They go to market to shop. And when that great demand is there, it is a wide market for a greater demand of products. The last but not the least, common currency. Whether you go to the north, whether you come to the south, whether you go to middle belt, to the east and to the west, anywhere in Nigeria, one currency, naira and kobo. So this facilitates trade easily. Whatever you want to buy, you buy in your naira. Whatever you want to buy, you buy with your kobo. So with the naira and kobo, you can have access to whatever you want at any part of the country. Now, despite these factors that actually favors trade in Nigeria, there are also limitations. There are limitations or problems of internal trade. And one of those limitations are unfavorable climate, which leads to low yield and harvest. Now, as a geography student, you've heard of climate change. When you are supposed to have rain, you have sun. When you are supposed to have sun, you have rain. This is actually disturbing or troubling the environment. There is a complete variation from the normals. So climate is an unfavorable factor. With good climate, you have high yields. With bad climate, you have low yield or not one at all. 2, high rate of rural-urban migration. All of you here listening, most of you, if they ask you to go and sleep in your village today, you will run back the following day. Why? Because the comfort you want are not there. The comfort you want are not there. You are used to township life. So you see, there is a lot of people moving from the rural area to the urban centers for quest of good living, for job opportunities, etc. High level of pest invasions into our local farms. I just visited my wife's farm just some few days ago, and I look at the maize we cultivated. All were looking frail, scattered, stunted. In all, the maize were battered completely. Having observed this closely, with closer investigation, we discovered that the armyworm has invaded the farm. And what is there? Armyworm invading someone's farm, it is very destructive. So you see, pest invasion into your farm will destroy your crops, destroy your proceeds, and destroy your food. So we have common here amongst us. We have a very low knowledge on how to attack all this. But thank God we have some insecticides, some pesticides that are used now to checkmate all this. But those pesticides, you can't get it from the market ordinary like that without payment. So it involves you spending some money. It is part of the trading. There are people who are dealing on this. So you go to market to buy them. You trade. And so pest invasion into our local farms cause massive destructions to our crops. Lack of storage facilities. This is one of the biggest problems we have in this country. Our product will not last long in the market. For instance, if you harvest tomato today and take it to market, and possibly no buyer to buy it from you quickly, either as a result of your price, you discover that within 2-3 days, they are all bad. Whereas if we have storage facilities, what would have happened? You take it back home and store it, and the next day you bring it back to market for sale. What of our beans that are always full of beans weevil, rice weevil? What of other products that we need to store for some time so that when we have plenty, we store them, and during the period of scarcity, we bring them out to replenish nature? These opportunities are not there. Please, young students, think towards this to see how we can solve this problem in our society. Ordinarily, there should be silos. Ordinarily, there should be refrigerators where products are stored for further usage. The last but not the least, smuggling of the products to neighboring countries, creating room for artificial scarcities. Most of our people are involved in smuggling, which is a very serious crime in Nigeria. We smuggle this product out, buy them at cheap price, take it to other outside to sell. It is not so good. At least we should have sufficiency before we take out for sale. Importance of internal trade. One of the major importance of internal trade is that it fosters regional cooperation. I cannot see that you are bringing food for me, bringing my needs for me to buy. I bring my own for you to buy, and then we have problem. It brings in unity, brings in total cooperation amongst the regional sector in a country, because with trade you interact freely. Two, make equitable distribution of product not originally available in an area. Oh, that's great. Product that you could not find here, that you ordinarily wouldn't have seen in your local area. For the purposes of internal trade, these products sometimes are brought in to your doorstep to buy. So make equitable distribution of products not originally available in an area is very important. It provides employment to many people who are involved in trade. How many government sector could accommodate everybody, the 170 million people in Nigeria, in government paid employment? It is not true. It is not there. So getting involved in trading solves a lot of problems. So many people are not even interested in any paid job. They want to trade and make their money, and they have it. 4, it encourages the growth of ancillary services. e.g. agro-allied industries and banking. As a result of one trade, for example, you see several other businesses springing up. Several other ones springing up in a local area. I remember in those days when NAFCON was in place. Because of the establishment of NAFCON, there were several ancillary industries that came up, like the bag processing company, thread processing company. Several other ones came in because these are ancillary industries that serves as a branch of this major one. What about banking? If you sell, I don't know where you keep your money. In this our current dispensation, there is trouble. So when you sell, you must go to the bank and deposit your money for safekeeping. 5, it provides raw materials for industries. That is self-explanatory. Product from the rural areas, product from our primary industry sector are used as raw materials for our secondary industries. It promotes diffusion of ideas. I have seen this product somewhere. Let me try it in this my area. If it will do well here, And sometimes when you try it, it thrives better. And if you have it in sufficient quantity here, you see how you maximize your profits. It promotes diffusion of ideas. Yes, we discussed that. The last one, it provides income to individuals. Provides income to individuals and families. That is direct. Common products that are involved in internal trade. Common products that are involved in internal trade. If you look at the table before you, you will see commodities that are produced, commodities, source regions, and destinations. So when you look at them, you will see commodities that are produced, and the source, the region where they are produced, and the destinations they carry it to. Finally, with what we have done so far, we've come to the end of today's lesson. But before we go, there is an assignment for you. What is the assignment? On a sketch map of Nigeria, locate and name 1. The source area and the destinations of 2 named major items of internal trade. Indicate by an arrow the direction of movement of each commodities. 2. One important town in each state. One important town in each state. And 3. Outline 4 factors that have favored the development of internal trade in Nigeria.